I am 89 years old. I want you to let that number sit for a moment. 89. My hands shake now when I pour my morning coffee. My left knee knows when rain is coming before any weatherman does. And when I lie down at night, sometimes I listen to my own breathing, just to make sure it is still there. I am not afraid of that. What I am is honest. Finally, completely honest. In a way I could never afford to be when I was younger, when I had something to lose, something to protect, something to prove. I have none of those things anymore. I am standing at the edge of a very long hallway, and the door at the far end, I can see the light underneath it now. I could not always see it. For most of my life that door seemed so far away it barely existed. Now I can see the light, and it does not frighten me. What frightens me is what I see when I turn around and look back. You think you know that life is short. You have heard it 1,000 times, on birthday cards, in eulogies, from your doctor, from your grandmother. You nod when you hear it. You feel something, briefly, and then the phone buzzes, or lunch arrives, or Monday comes again, and the knowing disappears. That is the difference I need to explain to you. There is knowing something in your mind, and there is asterisk feeling, asterisk it in your chest. They are not the same thing, not even close. I knew my father would die someday. I knew it at 23 when he was still strong and loud and filled a room just by walking into it. I knew it the way you know that a winter will eventually come, abstractly, safely, from a distance. And then one Tuesday morning in February the phone rang, and I felt it. Those are two completely different experiences of the same truth. And the tragedy, the real tragedy, is that most people live their entire lives in the knowing and never allow themselves to feel it. Not until it is too late to do anything with the feeling. You are doing this right now. You are in the knowing. I need you to come into the feeling. Just for these few minutes. Just while you are here with me. I want to tell you about a man named Harold. Harold Benson. He was my closest friend for nearly 30 years. We met in 1971, at a job neither of us particularly liked, in a grey building in Cincinnati that smelled like old paper and burnt coffee. Harold had a plan. He was going to work hard for 15 more years, save carefully, retire early, and then this was the part he loved to talk about. He and his wife Margaret were going to drive across the country in a camper. No schedule, no agenda, just two people and the open road, seeing everything they had always said they would see someday. He could describe that trip in extraordinary detail for a man who had never taken it. The painted desert, the California coast, stopping at diners in small towns where nobody knew their names. Harold talked about that trip the way some men talk about heaven. In 1987, Harold was 61 years old. He had saved well. He had worked his 15 years and then some. He had just told Margaret that the time was finally coming. Margaret died of a stroke in October of that year. She was here on a Sunday. She was gone by Wednesday. And Harold, the Harold I knew, the one who lit up when he talked about that camper and that road, and Margaret's laugh when she saw something beautiful, that Harold died that Wednesday too. The man who kept walking around and going to the grocery store and nodding when you spoke to him, that was someone else, someone much quieter, someone who had left his life behind in a hospital room and did not know how to ask for it back. He never took that trip. I visited him in the nursing home near the end. He was 83 by then. He held my hand and he looked at the window for a long time without saying anything. And then he said very quietly, asterisk. We had so many Sundays. Why did we save the living for later? Why did we save the living for later? I have never stopped hearing that. Here is what I need to tell you now, and I need you to hear it without flinching. The world does not stop when you die. I know that sounds obvious, but I do not think you truly understand what it means. Your desk at work will be cleaned out within a week. Someone younger will sit in your chair. They will not know your name within a year. The projects you stayed late for, the meetings you sacrificed weekends for, the deals you were so proud of, they will become footnotes, and then they will become nothing. The company you gave decades to will not grieve you. It will post a job listing. I spent 31 years building something at a firm that no longer exists. It was acquired, then sold, then dissolved. The building itself was torn down in 2009 to make room for a parking garage. I drove past it once. I sat in my car and looked at that parking garage for a long time. All of that urgency, all of those late nights, all of those times I said asterisk, not this weekend. I have work asterisk, and this is what it became, a parking garage. I am not telling you this to be cruel. I am telling you this because the truth, even when it is painful, is a gift. And I do not have enough time left to give you anything less than the truth. Let me tell you about your things, your car, your house, the watch you saved 3 months to buy, the furniture you were so particular about, the collection of something, records, bottles of wine, books you always meant to read. When you die, one of two things will happen to all of it. Your family will divide it up in a single afternoon, keeping what is useful, discarding what is not. Objects you treasured will go to strangers at an estate sale for $3. The watch will end up in a box at a thrift store, and a teenager will buy it without knowing your name or your story or what it cost you. Or, and this is the one people never consider, no one will want any of it, and it will all be hauled away in a truck. Here is the metaphor I want you to carry with you. A sand castle, a beautiful elaborate sand castle, built with enormous care and great pride, and the tide does not care. The tide has never once stopped to admire a sandcastle before it came in. Your possessions are the sandcastle. The tide is time, and the tragedy is not that the tide comes. The tide always comes. The tragedy is the man who spent his whole life building the sandcastle and forgot to swim in the ocean. I want to talk to you about your career, because I think this is where most of you are hemorrhaging your life, and you have been told so many times that it is noble and necessary that you cannot see the wound anymore. I was good at my work. I want to say that plainly, because this is not a story about failure. I was recognized and respected and rewarded. I climbed. I achieved. I was by every professional measure a success, and I missed my daughter's childhood. Not all of it. I was there for the big moments, the birthdays I could schedule around, the holidays, but childhood is not made of big moments. Childhood is made of Tuesday afternoons. It is made of the questions a 7-year-old asks in the car. It is made of the bedtime conversations that go nowhere and everywhere. It is made of being asterisk present, asterisk in the unremarkable hours, which are, I now understand, the most remarkable hours of all. My daughter is 61 now. She is kind to me. She calls. She visits. But there is a knowing between us, unspoken, never discussed, that I was not entirely there. That part of her grew up in the company of a father who was physically present and emotionally elsewhere, always slightly distracted by something that in hindsight did not matter at all. I cannot go back to those Tuesday afternoons. No promotion, no title, no award ever given to me is worth one single Tuesday afternoon that I missed. Not one. I want to tell you now about what is real. I have been alive for 89 years. I have seen a great many things, and I can tell you with the clarity that only comes this late in a life, the moments that have stayed with me are not the ones I expected to keep. I remember the way my wife laughed when something genuinely surprised her, a sudden unguarded laugh that she could never quite control. I have not heard it in 11 years, and I still hear it. I remember sitting on the back steps of my parents' house at dusk, when I was perhaps 9 years old, watching fireflies come up out of the grass. Nobody asked me to be anywhere. Nothing was required of me. The world was just there, quiet and alive and full of small lights. I remember holding my daughter when she was 4 hours old, and understanding in a way that bypassed all language that I would die for this person without a second thought. These are the things that remain, not the deals, not the promotions, not the opinions of people who have long since forgotten I existed. The laugh, the fireflies, the weight of a newborn in my arms. Connection, that is the word, human connection, freely given and fully received. That is the only currency that holds its value. Everything else devalues. Everything else erodes. And you are starving yourself of it. Right now, today, in favor of things that will not matter, given by people who do not truly see you, in pursuit of a version of yourself that was never really you to begin with. Stop. Please, stop. I am going to give you a few simple things, not rules. I do not have the arrogance to call them rules, just things I wish I had understood 30 years earlier. The first is this: do not save your love for special occasions. Love is not a good bottle of wine. It does not improve with waiting. The people you love, say it to them plainly. Say it often. Say it on a Tuesday for no reason. Say it in the ordinary moments, because the ordinary moments are the ones that make up a life. And you do not know, you truly do not know, which Tuesday will be the last one. Harold did not know about that Wednesday in October. The second, your discomfort is not the same as danger. So much of what we avoid, the honest conversation, the apology we owe, the dream we are afraid to pursue, the relationship we are afraid to leave, we avoid because it is uncomfortable, not because it is dangerous, not because it will harm us, simply because it feels uncertain, and uncertain things are uncomfortable. But the life you do not live because of discomfort, that becomes its own suffering, a quieter suffering, a slower one, but heavier. I know, I carried some of it for decades. The third, pay attention, not to your phone, not to the noise, to the actual texture of the life that is happening in front of you. The face of the person who is speaking, the taste of the food, the color of the sky at a particular hour, the sound of your child's breathing when they are asleep. Life is not somewhere else, arriving later. It is here. It is now. It is in the room with you at this moment, and it is asking you gently, persistently, with great patience, to be present for it. Most of us make it answer that question alone. I am tired now. That is the truest thing I can tell you. I am tired in the way that only comes after a very long journey. It is not an unhappy tired. It is finished tired. The tired of someone who has done what they came to do, even if they did not always do it well. I am going to walk back down that hallway soon, and I am not afraid, but I want to ask you one last thing before I go. Tonight, when you close this and go back to your life, and you will, I understand that the world does not pause for wisdom. Tonight, just for a moment, let yourself feel it, not know it, feel the smallness of the time you have, not as a threat, not as a reason for panic or despair, but as the most clarifying, most humbling, most freeing fact of your existence. You are here for a little while, the people you love are here for a little while. And this moment right now, this ordinary, unremarkable moment, is not a rehearsal. It never was. I am 89 years old. I am standing at the end of a long hallway, and the light is coming under the door. And all I want to tell you, all I have ever wanted to tell you, is this: do not wait for the light to reach you before you start to live. It comes for all of us. Go home, sit with the people you love, put your phone down, and be there, fully, quietly, completely there. That is all. That is everything.